Now?
My name.
Yeah, my name is Abe Dubinsky. I was born in England, London, in 1921. My parents, my father is from Russia and my mother from Galicia, Poland. They came to Belgium around 1900, and I'm the youngest of 4 children. They came to Belgium about 1900, and they got married there, and my older sister is born in Antwerp, Belgium in 1911, and then when the war broke out, my father was a Russian, so he evacuated to England and was in the British Army for a short time, but he wasn't healthy enough. After the war, we came back to Belgium in 1918. And what else? 1918. Yeah, and then in 1940, when the war broke out in Europe, when the Germans invaded Belgium, we fled again to England. And there, my sister and a son and a husband stayed in Belgium. They couldn't get on the boat to go to England because they were not English. In England, from England, I got a boat in 1940 during the bombardment of London. I found a boat that went to America, and I told my mother, let me go, so from America I could help my sister and brother who remained in occupied Europe. My brother was arrested by the Belgian police and sent to a concentration camp in France, where the International Spanish Brigade was also interned. So in England, I had a chance. I was walking in the port, and I seen a Belgian boat, and they told me they goes to America, and they don't have enough crew members. So I went home and asked my mother permission to go to England, to go on the boat to America, and from there I could help my sister and brother who remained in occupied zone. From there I did all possible. I sent packages to my sister, and I got in contact with the Kerk Hayemet because I knew the old shaliach from Kerk Hayemet in Antwerp in Belgium was stationed now in New York, and he helped me to get all the papers for my brother to get released to come to the States. But my brother got released, and he came to Cuba first, and from Cuba he came to the States. He came the same day that I was called up in the army, because after December 7th, America was in war with Germany too. And in the States, everybody had to go in the army, so they called me up, and I was sent to a camp and was inducted in the Armored Corps, in the Tank Corps, in Louisiana. What else you want to know? When we in the United States wasn't prepared for war, and when I came there training, they gave me a broomstick as a gun. They didn't have nothing. And there was a Jeep that was inscribed tank, because they didn't have nothing. But afterwards, all the equipment came, and we had heavy training for 2 years before they sent us from the States straight to Normandy. And there we continued the war until Czechoslovakia. And from Camp Oak we moved around for training with the infantry in other camps, Camp Barkley and New Mexico, Texas, Louisiana. And the training lasted 2 years. And then we were shipped overseas straight to France. From we went to Boston, and from Boston on the big troop ship we embarked and we landed in Normandy. And that's about, and I remember we came to Normandy, it was Yom Kippur. That's why I remember. A few days before Yom Kippur.
You had other Jewish people in your...
And there we received our tanks, and it took us a few weeks to clean up the tanks, because the tanks were all covered with grease. They shouldn't rust while they were shipped overseas on the boat. So it took us a couple of weeks, and then we started to move out, and we started to fight. The first battle was in Metz. In Metz, France. It was a big German garrison there. That's where the first battle started, in Metz. And then we moved on to Germany. And then we were in the Battle of the Bulge, when the Germans counterattacked. And it was very cold in that time in January, in December, January 44. And it was a hard fight with the Germans till we pushed them back. And from there afterwards it was easy going into Germany. You know, you didn't think you was in the army, you had to fight, and you fought, you know. We fought the Germans. We wanted to win the war. And and they were a different opinion than we were. So we, you know, it was a big fight. The Germans was very strong. Their equipment was better than ours. But we had the production of the industrial production of the United States outnumbered the losses what we had, and the Germans couldn't replace all the losses they had because their industry was bombarded and everything. But the equipment from the Germans was way superior than the equipment from the Americans, from the Allied.
So from Cherbourg,
What?
from Cherbourg, when you landed,
Yeah,
you are going with your tank as a gunner,
yeah,
Sherman 75 millimeter.
yeah,
You fought in Metz,
yeah,
and then you
We
came
mo-
to the Saar River,
yeah.
and again,
There was the Siegfried line. There we
Yes.
stopped, you know.
what kind of tanks did you fight against?
The Mark III, Mark IV, and all kinds of the Germans. They had much better tanks than we had.
Did they hit your tank?
What?
Did they hit your tank?
Yeah.
And what happened?
No, with they broke the. So the lieutenant was in my tank, so we moved to another tank to move on, you know. And I lost. I was hit 3 times. 3 times.
How many did you hit? How many tanks did you hit on the others?
You don't know. You don't know. You
Well,
don't.
probably you counted at the beginning.
What?
You counted at the beginning.
No, you don't see. You shoot, and I wasn't actually in tank battles. We were mostly against the infantry and the other tanks. You know, they were camouflaged, and then after Metz, the Germans moved back to their country behind the Siegfried line, and we stopped on the Siegfried line, you know, where the biggest bunkers were. The walls were about 3 meters thick of the bunkers. And listen, it's all history to me now, you know, it comes back slowly. And, go ahead. Comes back slowly. And there we stayed for a few weeks, I think. I don't know exactly the dates, but there, we were there in the Saarland. That's where the Germans counterattacked. And we were on the northern flank. The Germans came around to us, and our unit didn't participate in the Battle of the Bulge because they went around us and they broke through. And the Battle of the Bulge is a different story, you know. It's they had all their resources they put in the Battle of the Bulge, and they lost most of their equipment when they moved back, the Germans. And afterwards it was easy. We moved on to Germany. Easy. We crossed the Rhine, and we watched the German city. It was all in ruins. You know, they were bombarded all the time by the Air Force. And we moved on.
Where did your commander was killed?
What?
Where did your commander killed?
Le commandant du tank, où est-ce qu'il a été tué?
I don't remember. You know, this, every day was killed and wounded, and we had to replace them. So they took from a gunner to make a tank commander. You know, a tank commander, a tank company has a company has 16 tanks, and in the 16 tanks there's 3 platoons from 5 tanks each. So in the battle, a lot of got wounded and killed, and then they replaced them from other crew. And that's how I became a tank commander.
Do you remember where you became a tank commander?
It must be I don't remember where now. When you're in the battle, you don't think about that. You think about your own life. You shouldn't get hit, and you don't look for glory. You look to save your life. You know, it's not a movie where they glorify the tank commander. You know, you don't glorify. He's a member of the crew. And the crew is very knit together, you know. We sleep, we eat, we everything together. And it wasn't, it's not like in the movies. And, you know, they were camouflage, you know. You're not normal in battle. You're not normal in battle. You're gisht. You don't know what to do. You do it. You don't. It comes automatically. You don't think. You don't think. You think. You shoot. You shoot. You don't see what you shoot. You know. Every night, they brought ammunition and gasoline to us. So. We took in about a few hundred liters gasoline every night, and replenished the shells. What we shot down every night, they supplied us. You know, it was the supply was very, very efficient. But life goes on, you know. You're not in the movies, you know. Yeah, that's it's hard to say. It's not like in the movies. You think, and it comes natural. Well, it was a battalion. We were independent battalion. And the battalion was a colonel. And then there was in the battalion there was 2 regiments. And a regiment was a colonel and or major, I don't remember. You know, it's all natural. It locks into each other.
You remember the names of the unit, the name of the commander?
The units, sure, the 778 Tank Battalion. And the battalion was 2 regiments, and the regiment was 3 companies. So a regiment had about regiment, battalion, 3 companies, 5, 3. Regiment had about 45 tanks, you know, commanded by a colonel or major, I don't remember.
You remember his name?
I got it, I don't remember now.
Okay.
I think Cunningham. 7 Jewish soldiers in my company. In the small company, had about 7 Jews.
From how much? 7 from how much? Quel pourcentage ça représente?
200
Ah,
from
3%.
200 from
3%.
207. So 3%, 3.5%, 35% were Jewish. North, and then we went down to Austria, and we crossed what's the river there? Okay, we crossed in Austria there, and there we...
C'est pas le Danube. C'est pas le Danube.
No, no. All right, what else you want to know? We liberated near Weimar. I forgot the name. Near Weimar. I don't know what's the name of the camp. But we liberated, but we didn't stay. The infantry went in. We didn't go in the camp. We seen the prisoners came out. We let them go in the houses and take whatever they want.
Did you understand that in this camp there are Jewish people?
Well, sure.
Yes. How come?
Well, we knew that we knew there were camps. The Jews were. My own sister was taken.
What?
My own sister was taken to the camp. She never came back.
What does it mean to your behavior when you saw those camps, when you see the Germans around?
Yeah, I didn't go in, but the prisoners came out and they went in the shops and they took whatever they want, you know, and we had to move on. Yeah.
Did you know already about Fanny? At that time, did you know already about Fanny?
I knew she was taken, but I didn't know she was killed. Well, you know, it's more than 70 years ago, and you know, it's hard to tell the feeling from 70 years ago, but I had a strong feeling, and I can't explain it, you know. As I told you, it's not a movie, it's a reality. We moved on, you know, and then there was a lot of displaced persons, not only Jews, but from all over Europe, you know, from Hungary, from Romania, from everybody. So we were thinking about the war and how to survive and how to kill the Germans. And, yeah, what else you want to know?
What does it make to your motivation? What does it make to your motivation, you know, to...
I don't get you.
Est-ce que l'entrée du camp, ça vous a donné de la motivation pour continuer?
Oui, je ne suis pas entré dans le camp.
Non.
Avec un tank, on ne peut pas rentrer dans le tank. With a tank, you can't go in.
Mais il te demande ce que ça t'a fait sur ta motivation,
Oui,
sur ton feeling.
I'm a human, no?
Exactly.
Any human being, you know, especially a Jew, had a special rage that time to kill more Germans.
Where did you find the end of the war?
What?
Where did you find the end of the war?
In Czechoslovakia.
Where?
In the south. Czechoslovakia-German border. Austrian border. not far from Pilsen, south of Pilsen.
And how did you celebrate the Victory Day, the end of the war?
Well, we were happy, you know, the war. There was a huge amount of German prisoners we had to take care. In the hundreds of thousands of prisoners, you know. And that's a full album. Well, and when the war was over, we were occupying Germany, and I was sent back to the States in 1946. In 1946. There I worked, and then after 2 years I went back to Antwerp to see my mother and sister. They came back from London. They lived in Antwerp, and I came back to see them. And I stayed there a few years.
A few years? You didn't go back to the States afterwards? You stayed there when you were... So in 48 you came back to Belgium, in 48?
48, yeah.
But you didn't go back to the States afterwards? You married in 50?
I know, yeah. The Zionists, they were the Shomer Tzayir, the Zionist movement.
You don't blame yourself by this. You don't blame yourself.
I don't blame myself.
Okay. So you follow them?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my son came to Israel. He went in the army too. Spent 3 years in the army.
As a tankist as well.
Also in a tank.
Well,
And your grandchild as well, Papi. Your son and your grandson. Your son and your grandson. Gil as well.
Yeah, and my grandson was also in the tank. The Jewish history said so many Jewish soldiers were in all over the world. In the Dutch army, in the French army, in the British army. I had cousins in the British army. I had friends in the Dutch army. And I had all over friends. Yeah.
So, why it is important to tell this story?
Because you asked me.
No. Good.
I got a cousin here. Her husband was also in the Belgian army in Normandy. You want to hear her story?
Brigade Perron.
Quoi?
Brigade Perron.
Oui, mais il veut savoir ça aussi.
course.
Je sais, alors il faut appeler Anna.
I asked Viviane already. She's coming back soon.
Où est Viviane?
She's coming in a while.
I think the museum is important for the young generation. This is already the third generation they don't know much about. They should know more what happened during the Battle of the War in 1944. And it's very important. T'as vu, Anna?
אז אולי שיחזיק את זה רק. זה עוד, הנה פה. כמו חדש.
מפקד טנק, בחטיבה 778.
Old memories.